This video explores the constitutional and administrative evolution of India under the Regulating Acts, covering the period from 1773 to 1858. To understand these acts, we must look at the historical context. Established in 1600, the East India Company became a ruling power after the Battle of Buxar. This led to a dual government system in Bengal, which caused administrative chaos, corruption, and the oppression of the local population. The situation reached a breaking point with the Bengal famine of 1770 and the financial crisis of the East India Company. Facing bankruptcy, the company sought a loan from the British government, which used the opportunity to impose regulatory conditions. The Regulating Act of 1773 was the first major step. It moved the British government from a policy of laissez-faire to direct regulation, establishing the foundation for a centralized administration and marking the beginning of official company rule in India. Key provisions of the 1773 Act included creating the post of Governor General of Bengal, with Warren Hastings serving as the first administrator. It also centralized control by subordinating the presidencies of Bombay and Madras, and established a Supreme Court at Calcutta. However, the 1773 Act had major flaws. It neglected the needs of the Indian population, created friction between regional presidencies, and introduced a conflict of law between English legal standards and local customs. To address these issues, the Amending Act of 1781, also known as the Act of Settlement, was passed. It granted judicial immunity to the Governor-General and his council, and excluded revenue matters from the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Pitt's India Act of 1784 introduced a system of dual control. The Court of Directors continued to manage commercial affairs, while a new Board of Control was established to oversee political, civil, and military affairs, clearly asserting British Crown sovereignty. The Charter Act of 1793 marked the beginning of a 20-year renewal cycle. It further consolidated company authority, extended its trade monopoly for another 2 decades, and reinforced the Governor-General's power over the other presidencies. The Charter Act of 1813 brought significant changes, ending the company's trade monopoly with the exception of the tea trade and trade with China. It also explicitly defined the company's territories as belonging to the British Crown and allocated funds for native education. With the Charter Act of 1833, the company's commercial monopoly ended entirely. Lord William Bentinck became the first Governor-General of India, and the act moved toward further centralization by depriving other presidencies of their legislative powers. The final Charter Act of 1853 made significant structural changes. It separated the executive and legislative functions of the Governor-General's Council, introduced the first instance of local representation, and began a system of open competition for civil service recruitment. In summary, the period of company rule saw a strong push towards centralization. However, after 1858 and the transition to Crown rule, the system began to reverse this trend, moving toward decentralization and greater regional representation.